Okay, so I'll be quick on this. Apparently, this YouTuber is highballing Final Wars, is what I've been told. So I'm gonna react to the video, see if people are actually being truthful about this. If not, well, I mean, if you're seeing this video, then odds are I found something. I mean, why would I post it if there's nothing here? So let's get into this, I guess. Cosmology, I'm not sure why that matters. He doesn't have anything that actually uses it. Okay, so they just said transcending physics equals outerversal. No. No, it doesn't. Outerversal means you transcend dimensions, like all dimensions. Transcending physics, physics as we know it as humans, it doesn't reach that infinite dimensional mark because those are all kind of non-confirmed in real life. There's no evidence of infinite dimensions in any Godzilla cosmology. So why in the Earth you assume transcending physics would automatically equal outerversal is kind of hilarious. Also, Space Godzilla he doesn't scale to Final Wars because he's way stronger than Final Wars. Now I know there's some statements people like to use about Final Wars being the strongest Godzilla. Well, the bottom line is he doesn't back any of that up, for one. And for two, there's similar statements about Shin, of all people. Unless you think the barely multi-city block guy is beating Heisei in Monsterverse, then you're wrong. Also, half of the statements about Kaiser Ghidorah being the strongest Ghidorah are from non-approved by Toho statements from a non-canon to Godzilla magazine, meaning they don't count for shit. So right off the bat, we're off to a horrendous start with Space Godzilla scaling somehow being higherballed even further than even the most wild Heisei fan would scale it. And I scale Space Godzilla pretty goddamn high, but that's insane to argue he's outer, because that statement, that doesn't even mean outer, like, at all. It just means he transcends, like, 3D to 4D physics, which is, like, actual physics that we know of as people. So, you're already off to a horrendous start. Yeah, I can tell that a lot of people watching this probably can't really see everything that this person's saying. I don't know why they decided to make a video that's like obscenely little and just pack every ounce of information they had on whatever the hell the scaling is on it. But I mean, if you want to see the stuff, just pause it. But I'm obviously going to talk about it when I see it, so you'll know what it says, because that's what I'm going to be talking about. Anyways, for once, this person's right. The Final Wars cosmology does equal the Showa and Heisei cosmologies. Why? Because the original film's technically canon to it to some degree. Not like the exact same, but the same events almost played out in a similar way. Just with Final Wars Godzilla basically replacing the original, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, the cosmologies should be the same, as that is technically a branching timeline off the original. That said, once again, Final Wars does not scale to his cosmology in any way, shape, or form. So why it's even being brought up is just weird. Okay, so 3 really dumb statements in a row. The first one, about him being the strongest Godzilla. No. Just no. You know why? Because, first of all, that statement isn't even approved by Toho, like, at all. Second, he doesn't back it up. He does not back it up at all. He doesn't fight anybody with supergravity, ever. He never fights a character with supergravity. Some people will be like, well, doesn't Kizar Ghidorah have something gravity related? That's anti-gravity. Anti-gravity is not supergravity. They're not anywhere near the same. There are some mistranslations where they have anti-gravity as supergravity. Supergravity can cause anti-gravity-like effects, but they are not the same at all. Supergravity is higher dimensional. Anti-gravity is not. Kizar Ghidorah does not scale to the other Ghidorahs. As I already explained, that statement is not even a Toho one. Now, as for him being the strongest Godzilla in history, once again, he doesn't back it up. Heisei Godzilla backs up being stronger than Showa. Showa backs up being higher dimensional, as there's actual showings of higher dimensional feats in the era. In fact, the majority of Godzillas that are considered stronger than others back it up, besides 2, Final Wars and Shin, which do not. Therefore, their statements are invalid because they do not show any way of being relative to these older versions at all. They never back it up. That'd be like if you had a incarnation of Superman who like dies because he hits the moon, but he's somehow stronger than like Superman, fucking like cosmic armor Superman. And there's a statement so people believe it. Like no, you have to back up your statements. Heisei backs up his statements at least somewhat. The only one he doesn't is him apparently being 200 times stronger in show in the first film. But if you've seen my videos, you know I'm very iffy on that statement. I only use it when I have Heisei go up against a very powerful character. Typically, I don't use it. I use mainly his own scaling. Just assuming he does scale Showa to some degree, at least somewhere in the series, as he would upscale Showa even off his own scaling, just because how much higher his multipliers are than Showa's. And once again, he backs it up. Final Wars does not. Now, for being the strongest monster in history, that's implying he's the strongest monster within his timeline, not the other timelines, his timeline. The same statement is there for Kiryu Goji. Are you going to argue that the Godzilla that fought Kiryu is stronger than Burning Godzilla from the Heisei era? Are you going to argue that? No. But people sure as hell like to argue Final Wars is, even though they have the literal identical statement. Like, the same fucking statement. It's identical. That statement just means they're the strongest character in their verse at that point. The strongest kaiju on Earth. It doesn't mean they're the strongest Godzilla monster in history. That's not what that means. So, yeah, no. 3 statements that you just said are completely just wrong. They're false. You don't even back them up. You just put them there. Half of them are in Japanese, so you're very much American, predominantly American audience that you're typing English text to isn't going to be able to read them. They'll have to know the statement beforehand, which is not only lazy, but just stupid, because no one's going to be able to debunk you if they don't know what the hell it says. I, on the other hand, do, because I actually do research. The normal people watching your videos don't, so now you're trying to rely on trying to bullshit people with that logic, which is not only lazy, but kind of stupid and almost manipulative in a way, because, I mean, they're not going to know, they're just going to assume you're right. Half these people are. So yeah, you're wrong. All 3 of those statements are false. The final one especially, that's just a dumbass comparison to even pull out. Fastest Godzilla in history, we need to compare the beams. Okay, here's why you're wrong. We see how fast his beam travels. He never encounters a kaiju confirmed to have infinite speed, not a single time. If you really wanted to go stupid with the highball, I guess you could argue Monster X somehow scales to the other Ghidorah speeds, which is around infinite, give or take, depending on how you look at it, but more consistently in the FTL. Now, Heisei Godzilla is able to blast crystals that travel from the edge of an infinite universe to Earth in like fucking stupidly little amounts of time for an infinite space. He's able to blast them out with his base breath. That right there is a better feat than anything Final War shows in his entire film, and Godzilla does this casually in base form. So please tell me how in the flying fuck you got his base breath above the infinite heat ray, the strongest interpretation of the atomic breath we've probably ever seen, outside of comic books, obviously. How in the hell are you going to argue that this base atomic breath that we see several kaijus react in the film is magically faster than a beam that was speed blitzing Destroya, a guy who can pretty much outspeed almost any other kaiju in the Heisei era in just raw combat speed? I mean, the fucking feats don't back it up. I hate to break it to you, they just don't. Nothing in the film backs it up, besides some statement you apparently found, which I've never even heard of. There being a statement that says his breath is faster. They're both radiation beams. Toho rarely ever talks about Godzilla's atomic breath's official speed, so I find it hard to believe you actually found something that said that. So, yeah, hate to break it to you, but you're just kind of wrong on this one, too. Just blatantly wrong. And how would his beam being faster than burning, even if it somehow magically was, make him faster? It wouldn't. He doesn't run faster in Zilla. He doesn't run faster in Monsterverse. You can see him run in the film. He's slow. He's probably the slowest running Godzilla. He's barely faster than Heisei, actually. If you look at Heisei's fastest movement showings in the film, he's not that much faster. Unless he's jumping. Now, he is faster than Monsterverse in, like, agility and jumps, but when it comes to actual running speed, there's plenty of Godzillas that can keep up with him. So, no, he's not the fastest Godzilla. And in reaction time, he never reacts to infinite speed, as I just said. So, find a feat or, like, a really good statement to give him infinite speed, and then we'll talk. But as of now, you don't have anything. So, sorry. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he's trying to argue that since this beam, the Exilion's beam, zaps monsters out of existence and reforms them, the monsters transcend non-existent concepts. Let me break down how fucking stupid that logic is. For one, they're not surviving this technically. The beam is specifically designed to do that shit to monsters. They aren't overpowering the beam. They're getting broke down and reformed. Therefore, they are weaker than the machine doing it. They are basically getting teleported, but with extra steps. They aren't literally getting broken down to nothing and surviving, because they're not dead to begin with. The beam's designed to move them like that. They were actually, just in their normal states, able to survive non-existence, then Final Wars Godzilla would not have been able to kill Zilla with one atomic breath. Because even if he completely erased Zilla, Zilla would have gotten right the fuck back, because Zilla apparently now transcends concepts. Okay, and yet normal military weapons were beating the shit out of Ibira. Yeah, but Ibira's like God now. Now, let's look at another really dumb case. The stupid mantis. I don't remember its name. I don't care. The stupid fast guy. He gets impaled on metal, like normal bitch-ass metal. He shows no relativity to the other monsters, but he still got reduced to nothing and then brought back. Does he transcend concepts? Because non-existent Ray? Because he upscales that despite it, making him non-existent briefly? No, he doesn't. You can be that's like arguing that since someone in DC got, like, Green Arrow got zapped with, like, a non-existent ray or something, and then they brought him back later, that he's now a Superman level threat. That's like the logic you're trying to go off here, and it's really stupid. The technology is designed to do that without killing the kaiju. That's what its purpose is. The kaiju, clear as day, downscale off the beam as they are getting affected by the beam. The beam is stronger than them. They do not upscale it. So no, they do not upscale concepts. And how would being non-existent upscale concepts? If anything, it would make you not it wouldn't work like that. That's not how that works. It's pretty blatantly obvious now that you are going for every goddamn highball you could think of. Like, literally every single one. Okay, so that statement doesn't mean literally everything in Final Wars happened instantaneously. That's what he's talking about, by the way, if you didn't catch that. I guess just pause the video or something, but he's arguing that everything in Final Wars happens instantaneously, so therefore everyone's at infinite speed, and then it bypasses math equations, and since everyone has good and evil in them, and it's supposed to be a final war between good and evil, blah, blah, blah. Your war figures of speech exist, for one. The final war between good and evil, Godzilla's pretty fucking evil, and he's fighting a group of evil aliens, so right there, it's evil versus evil. I hate to break it to you. Godzilla's not a good guy here. That's figure of speech. The movie's own logic doesn't even apply to that. Now, with your little... Everything in Final Wars happens instantaneously. It says the monsters got swiped up instantaneously. That means they all got sucked up at once, at the same time. Instantaneously doesn't always mean infinitely, or infinite speed. Instantaneously can mean everything happened at once, like that. There's multiple definitions for the word. You're just taking the highest end for it and then applying it to something it doesn't even apply to within the film's own logic. Which is really just fucking dumb, for one. And just like, what are you even trying to do here, for two? Now, I'm not sure what the good and evil thing had to do with this. Everyone has good and evil in them in Final Wars. Everyone has good and evil in them in real life, dipshit. That's literally just basic fucking human logic. Good and evil aren't even like real concepts, they're conceptual. Like, there's different definitions for good and evil. Like, what are you trying to prove with that? Everyone has good and evil in them? Like, what the fuck does that do with the scaling? It's a final war between good and evil. You know how many times they say shit like that in fictional stories and it doesn't up the scaling at all? Like, they bring good and evil fighting each other up in Lord of the Rings quite a bit. Does that mean, like, the basic fucking elves that are apparently the good guys magically scale to, like, all the good in the universe? Like, no. That's not how that works. What are you trying to do with this? Like, seriously. This is akin to me looking at, say Godzilla splitting his own atoms and fusing them for fuel for his energy, and then assuming that every single atom in his body could be split or fused and he would just survive that shit because, yeah, he does it normally, he should be able to do it all the time. No, that's not how that works. You're just taking like one statement, throwing it way off the goddamn rails to the wildest direction possible. The statement doesn't even apply as an actual thing it's meant to actually convey in any way, shape, or form. And use it to highball the absolute shit out of Final Wars without even, like, looking twice at your scaling. You're, like, literally the type of guy to say since Batman stunned Darkseid one time, he's fucking can punch a thug to the fucking sun or some shit. That's what that's your logic for Final Wars, Godzilla. It's really dumb. It's really stupid. Please stop. Okay, so Kizar controls the concept of death now, apparently, according to this guy. No, his beams cause death. They emit death as in a figure of speech, a play on words. Like if someone said a dragon's breath causes death and destruction wherever it goes, it doesn't mean the dragon is the cucking concept of death. If a helicopter machine gun is called a killing machine or like it rains death from above, that doesn't mean the fucking LMG on the helicopter is just the concept of death, like the Grim Reaper shooting it. That's not what that means. That's not even remotely close to what that means. You're taking just one statement and throwing it so far up in the fucking wildness of scaling that you have in your head for some reason. And then just assuming you're right without thinking for more than like half a fucking millisecond. You're like a goldfish trying to scale a character right now. It's really dumb. It's like you don't understand what a fucking metaphor is. Like, seriously, what the hell is this? The beams cause death and they're like death incarnate. It's a metaphor. Like, if fucking Heisei Godzilla, like, if they compared him to, like, let's talk about Shin Godzilla. They call him God incarnate. Does that mean Shin Godzilla is omnipotent? Like, he's literally God himself? No. Shin Godzilla is a not even city-level character. And you're over here trying to use this stupid fucking logic for Kizar Ghidorah. Logic that you could use for a lot of other characters, too. Like, when there's that dumb statement that said that Monster vs. Godzilla's Atomic Breath is the strongest weapon of the universe. You could hype that shit up all the way up to like the Big Bang and argue he's Uni Plus and shit. But he's not. It's very obvious he's not. His best feats on screen are like not even Dwarf Star. Like they're maybe Dwarf Star if you squint a little bit. His best scaling with statements other than that wild ass one are barely not even the solar system. So I mean, if you're going to use this logic for Kizar Ghidorah, you're going to use the same logic for Shin Godzilla? You're going to argue he's God? You're going to argue that Monster vs. Godzilla's standard basic-ass atomic breath and base back in 2014 was equal to the Big Bang, yet it couldn't kill a Muto? At least not in one shot? Like, get real, dude. Like, for real. Okay, so I'm assuming no one caught that, because that's a whole-ass paragraph, and she, I don't know what the person is. I don't know who this person is. I've been referring to him as a he. If it's a chick, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't care. I don't know I don't know what you are. You're an editor. I don't know your fucking gender. So don't get mad at me if I'm misgendering you or whatever the fuck. Anyways, they're arguing from one little statement that says, we become all powerful. That little Kizar fucker yells Geigen or whatever saying it. That guy. He says, we become all powerful like a fucking god among cattle. He's talking about Kizars. He says some wild shit, you know? Like, he's a pretty wild guy. Now, as for all-powerful, are you sure he doesn't just mean you're stronger than any human exilian? Because that's what he says later. All-powerful doesn't necessarily mean you're omnipotent, for one. Same with infinite power. People use that stupid argument all the time. Those don't necessarily have to mean the same thing. All-powerful can mean you're just stronger than everyone. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have absolute power. There's different interpretations of it. Also, they never back that shit up, like, at all. Like, there's literally exilians. Like, I'm pretty sure he gets hurt by a normal human at one point in the film. Like, he actually gets hit. And he's like all bitchy and whiny about it. Like, no. He's not omnipotent. If he was omnipotent, he'd know and fucking see everything. And he doesn't. He doesn't do that. He's not omnipotent. He never does anything that's even remotely omnipotent. He never shows that shit off. Just because he said it one time, that's like if fucking Frieza said he can like obliterate the Omniverse, and then never does it or shows anything even remotely close to it. But people just assume he is because he said it one time. That's like if Rick from Walking Dead said he's a planet buster, just jokingly, and people took it seriously. No, he's not omnipotent. You have to back up a fucking statement. That's like a requirement for a statement. That's why I don't scale Shin above all the other Godzillas. Because he doesn't back up his goddamn statements. Neither does Final Wars. So you're wrong again. Also, if any children are watching this, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to put a swear warning or whatever on the front. But yeah, I'm sorry I'm cussing a lot, but this is just like really stupid. So, yeah. So he said that Kizaar Ghidorah is confirmed, whatever. They said Kizaar Ghidorah is confirmed to be the strongest member of the Ghidorah species. Once again, that's implying their own timeline, not all the other ones. They also said strongest in the universe. Once again, their universe, not all of them. And then trying to imply that Kizaar Ghidorah is the strongest Ghidorah, which, as already explained, is not an official Toho thing. It's backed up by a non-official magazine. That statement is bullshit. People overhype it. And once again, even if that statement was true, and that Ghidorah was the strongest Ghidorah, like 100%, no, he didn't even have to back it up. We just roll with it. The strongest Ghidorah prior to this that he would scale to is Heisei. And Heisei Ghidorah would get folded by Super Mechagodzilla. And yet this Ghidorah, that's like maybe Super Mechagodzilla level if you highball him, was ragdolling Final Wars. And then Final Wars one-shots him, but Heisei was doing that long before he reached his peak. So even if he did use that stupid logic, that dumb-ass logic, Heisei would still win, because he's still stronger. Showa would still almost scale to him in base. So, like, you're not proving anything with that. You're just lying, using unofficial sources, and trying to desperately hype up a one-movie film that you people seem to just assume is, like, the greatest thing ever, and everyone in it's, like, omnipotent now. Like, fucking Mustache Man. He's that mustache guy. I forgot his fucking name. Gordon or whatever. He's omnipotent too, I guess. Like, they're gonna pull some bullshit, say he is. Like, his mustache solos Goku or some shit. That's Final Wars fanboy logic. I'm not gonna lie. It's really stupid. And the thing is, I like Final Wars Godzilla. Like, I really like Final Wars Godzilla, but he's not that strong for a Godzilla. He doesn't need to be. He's a cool Godzilla. He's cool for what he is. He's strong enough for his verse. He doesn't need to be like fucking Godzilla in hell. He's not. He just isn't. And people can't accept that, I guess. Some people can't. And it's just as bad as some other versions of Godzilla. Like, people will accuse me of being a Heisei fanboy. I've gotten it a lot. I'm not a Heisei fanboy. He's not even my favorite Godzilla. I've said that like 100,000 times. I like IDW Godzilla, the normal one for Rulers of Earth. That's my favorite Godzilla. But Heisei would crush his fucking head with like a fucking flick. He's just that much stronger. Like, it's not even close. You have to really look at what characters back up and not back up if you're going to scale them. And this person, this just fucking Jim of the Godzilla community, doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, at all. Their argument is really bad. And I'm not trying to attack this person. But, like, just fucking research stuff. Like, come on. Like, it's not that hard. It's kind of easy, actually. I'm assuming you have internet access if you're making videos. Like, just fucking look into shit. Like, oh god. It's dumb. Like, this argument's really dumb. Like, it's worse than the last thing I saw and I did on this channel, which was a guy who, like, literally argued Heisei was, like, not even island level, or... No, it was Burning wasn't even planetary, but Space Godzilla was Dwarf Star. Think about that for a second, everybody. Anyways, yeah, let's keep moving on with this amazing peak video of the Godzilla community, this masterpiece of power scaling. He did not change the name. Okay, so this person, this absolute amazing power scaler that does nothing wrong ever and knows exactly what they're talking about all the time. just said that Final Wars Godzilla in the novelization somehow, someway, changed the plot of the novel, which is not true at all, in any way, shape, or form, somehow affected concepts of, like, the universe itself, which did not happen at all, in any way, shape, or form, and somehow transcends everything. No. No. What are you talking about? No. Are you insane? Like, actually, are you, like, legitimately fucking insane? Final Wars Godzilla is not beyond everything. That never was stated. The statement you actually highlighted is in Japanese, too, so, like, no one's gonna be able to know what the fuck it says. Whatever it says, judging by your record so far, it definitely isn't true. I mean, you're arguing dude's omnipotent because, haha, he says so. Even though you can use that same logic for Shin also being omnipotent, unironically. No. You're also arguing that Ghidorah controls the concept of death because a play on words. Like, come on. Are you dumb? Like, literally, actually. I don't know if you caught his final thoughts on the scaling. But they don't even match up with what they said. They don't even match up with the scaling in the video. They don't even match up with what you said at all. AP, a few infinite layers into Boundless. Never once did you say that Final Wars Godzilla was infinitely into Boundless. The highest you can get, even off your ungodly wank for this mutant lizard, is like barely outer. It's like low outer. The highest bullshit you could spew wasn't even like close to Boundless. It wasn't Boundless at all. But unless you count that Space Godzilla stuff, which you never brought up how that plays into Final Wars, other than Final Wars apparently being the strongest kaiju, blah, blah, blah. All that dumb shit, which, again, most of those only apply to the timeline. You just forgot to think of that, I guess. And then also him being the strongest Godzilla, despite Space Godzilla not even being technically considered a Godzilla, as he isn't Godzilla, he's a clone. But I guess you're just going to bring clones in this too. I guess Destroy and Biollante also count. Like, they're there too. They have Godzilla DNA. Do they count into this? No? Okay, well, I guess your logic doesn't make sense then. Also, you say that's a low ball? You're aware Boundless is basically the highest you can get a character, right? Like, yeah, you can go higher, I guess. But, like, it's not going to make sense. No good character is going to be that high. And nothing he shows is, again, even close to Boundless. So what the fuck is your highball? What other statements you gonna pull out your ass? Like, come on. Like, I'll admit, there's been times where I've maybe went a little overboard. Like, that actually is one time I definitely went overboard on the Heisei scaling. And that was Godzilla vs. Cthulhu. Well, I still think Heisei Godzilla could potentially, maybe not kill, but hurt an at Cthulhu. Like, true form Cthulhu with his infinite spiral ray. I'll admit, he isn't amping himself up to infinite dimensions like I was bullshitting myself in that video. He's not that strong. But by your logic, Final Wars would just bust into the void and blow Cthulhu's head off and just be like, haha, LOL. Like, get real. Like, come on. Even my biggest highball of all time, for a character who has blatantly better scaling than Final Wars, a character that is easier to highball, a character you can actually bullshit yourself into believing is that strong without looking like a total idiot, is still like not even one infiniteth, that's not even a word, but it is now, of your scaling for Final Wars is a low ball. You're scaling his ass like he's a fucking DeviantArt OC. Like, what the fuck is this? Go over what Final Wars does have in his film. He one-shots Gigan. Gigan's narratively implied to be a planetary threat. He's also implied to at least have multi-continental plus AP. You can argue this up to, like, planetary if you highball the shit out of it. So let's say that Gigan is a planet buster and he gets one-shotted. That means that Final Wars, as a result, would upscale that. That means probably large planetary base, right? Almost. You see, he also gets ragdolled by Kaiser Ghidorah. Kaiser Ghidorah's best statement is that he has, quote-unquote, cosmic level firepower. Now, there's been some idiots try to say that this means he's in the cosmic category in, like, the verse wiki shit. The cosmic category was made after Final Wars, so the creators wouldn't have known that's a thing. So whoever the fuck says that's an idiot. But no, typically, based on that logic, that would mean he's solar system to galaxy. Once again, this is a statement he does not back up, but you can argue this bullshit. So if you want to highball the absolute hell out of base Final Wars Godzilla, you get him the solar system if you use every official statement that can be backed up 100%. Well, not really backed up 100%, but at least cannot be like debunked in half a millisecond. A statement that can at least be used without people just like literally cringing at your scaling. So if you use that, highballed, he's maybe low galaxy. If you, this is being really generous, more accurately like solar plus. If you use actual scaling that's like consistent, like actually worth the fuck, he's not even dwarf star base, but okay, we'll go with the fucking idiot route. And in his heavenly / Kizar / fucking orange fucking whatever you want, Fanta fucking form, his ass is like universal if you want to pull the highball statements, give or take. That's me highballing like a motherfucker to get there. And guess what? He's still weaker than fucking Showa. Like, seriously. Everything you said, this whole video, this whole thing, was either you taking a play on words and bending it into something wild, like fucking Kaiser Ghidorah controls the concept of death and shit, or all the Kaisers are omnipotent because some guy said, haha, I am. Like, no, he's not. He never backs that shit up. As I already explained you, the backup statements. That's something Final Wars doesn't do. They don't do backup. They don't back shit up. They just say shit and just, like, trust me, bro. They're almost like you in that good. The movie's like you. They say shit and go, haha, trust me. No. That's not how power scaling works. That's not how a fucking film should work. And that's not how power levels work. Final Wars is not boundless. He's never been boundless. He's never gonna be boundless. Heisei isn't boundless. No film Godzilla is boundless. The only Godzilla I've ever seen get the boundless that I don't roll my eyes at instantly is Godzilla in Hell. And even then, I personally don't think he's boundless. Because it doesn't, like, the shit that gets him there is very, very, very shaky. So, no Godzilla is really boundless if you look at it through a consistent lens. The strongest Godzillas are multiversal-ish. Now, you can get some of them to, like, outer, like, mainly Godzilla in Hell. But none of them are lowballed outer. No Godzilla ever is lowballed outer. That's insane. That's the stupidest argument, statement, opinion I've ever heard in the entire Godzilla community. That's akin to saying Zilla's a fucking planet buster. Like, come on. Anyways, this was not fun at all. Like, I think I might have blew a blood vessel. But, yeah, if you guys enjoyed this abomination of a video, don't check out the original video, please. And, I guess like and subscribe. I don't know. I'm not your dad. I can't control what you do. I do want subscribers, though, so, you know, think about it. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.